All right, everyone. Thanks for joining in today. My name is Mervin from Edumetry. And again, if you have friends that haven't joined us yet in today's session, because today's session will be on Computing Industry Revolution 4.0. It's a very new topic. It's a very relevant topic, especially for these days during the pandemic. And this topic is presented by none other but the representative from Asia Pacific University, Mr. Chi Sang himself.
So again, thank you guys for joining the sessions. My name is Ji Sing. Yeah. So I am a counselor from APU. If you are looking for more information, you go through with Edumetry, Mervin and the teams. And then finally, if you want more in-depth details, they will arrange a session with me.
Yeah. And
Uh,
students, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. We try to make it discussional. We try to make it as
yeah,
a conversation. So, but anyways, I know a lot of Malaysians students are very shy. So I'm gonna show you a way later on to get in touch with Mr. Chiseng
yes,
himself
yes,
personally. All right.
cool. So yeah, I do. Uh, Prior to the pandemic, I do a lot of speech in schools. I also do a lot of workshop, motivation workshop, personal improvement workshops, all the kind of things. Yep, that's what I do from day in day out. Yeah. Okay, so back to IR 4.0. So the so-called IR 4.0 means that before the fourth revolution, there are already some things happening beforehand. So this is the fourth changes in the industry. So we can go into details. The first industrial revolution actually happened back in 1760. I think this one is covered in either your sejarah or your uh, geography. I can't remember, but it's definitely in your book. You came across all these things. So back then, the revolution happens where we are introduced, human are introduced to machine tools, factory systems. With all this, they actually do mass production. But back then, 70s, 60s, right? What happened is manpower oriented, so they use a lot of manpower. They hire a lot of people just to operate in the factory itself, and then move on to the 1870 to 1940. This is also when a lot of Western country are introduced to railroad. Large scale iron productions, machinery manufacturing, and also the beginning of electrifications. Okay, one takeaway is actually, this is my personal thought, is that this is also the period where World War I actually happened. After that, we kind of stuck in a limbo for a while until we reach early of 1960. So this is post World War II. Again, humans are introduced to things like computer, microprocessor, cell phone, internet itself. And in Malaysia, internet was actually introduced quite late to us. I think Mervin and me are probably at the same generation. You're probably younger than me.
I am
Uh,
younger than you, but yeah, I was born a little bit before internet time.
Yeah, yeah. So back then, the service provider are not called Unify or your Maxis or anything. It was actually called something called jarring, and the fastest speed you can get is, I think, is what, 54 kb. So that was very fast back then. Now it's like, wow, 1 MB. What is that?
Yeah.
People are looking for one gigabyte kind of speed, so those kind of things. So we have moved very far from then. Okay. And then in 2015, we are actually introduced to the fourth revolutions using the current technology we already have at back in 3.0. We actually enhance it. We are focusing more on machine to machine communications, the applications of Internet of Things, or they call it IoT. It's no longer using human to analyze the system itself. The system itself will self-analyze, self-improve. Okay, that is the concept behind IR 4.0. In a way, whatever things that are stated here, it tells students that uh, the manufacturing side company are all starting to adopt AI as one of their core system. They are replacing a lot of human power. One of the company I will always share is this Top Glove. They are world glove manufacturer, and they actually moving towards full automations in their factory as well. They have about, I think, 30 plus manufacturing factory in Malaysia itself, and they are aiming to go full automation. They are slowly cutting down on manpower. Probably in the future, the only two kind of people who are working inside is your engineer and also your programmers. These are the two people that will be working inside, and they don't even need to be inside the factory itself. I'll show you how it works later. Okay, so this slide itself shows that what are the things that Malaysian government are actually focusing on. They are promoting cybersecurity, IoT, augmented reality, big data, autonomous robots, additive manufacturing, simulations, system integration, cloud. Okay, with that in mind, what happened to APU is that we also need to make sure that our students, when they are picking up our degree program, right, no matter it's IT degree program or business related program, engineering program, or even accounting program, they have to have the element of technology behind it, so that when students come out, they are not left behind or they are outdated in a way. So these are some of the things we focus on for our students: data science, cybersecurity program, cloud, AI, engineering. You have mechatronics. For business studies, we are looking into the e-business platform as well for students, even digital marketing.
Yeah.
Like fintech is something relatively new. A lot of university haven't offered this part as well. We already have fintech in our financial studies for all students, because uh, during the pandemic itself, everybody is switching from physical cash to e-wallets. Those are actually fintech, all right. And then of course mobile tech. Mobile tech is something that we no longer can run away from. Everyone have their smartphone. You can't you can live without your girlfriend, but you most likely can't live without your smartphone. That's what happening now. It's like, mana phone saya. You won't be like, where's my girlfriend? You're like, yeah, probably somewhere. But your phone is, cannot. Okay. So in order for you to really understand technology has changed your life, the first thing we look into is actually our daily life. All right. So this is the phone that we are using. We are using like smartphone, multiple function. You can do gamings, you can call. I think nowadays people don't even call. So then you have WhatsApp. You can do your Zoom meeting. You can take your classes on your phone itself. You can store a lot of pictures. You can do a lot of things basically. All right. Back then, this is the very first cell phone or mobile phone. In Chinese, it's called 大哥大. Maybe some of you, when you are kids, your parent bought this for you to fill up water inside, or there are candy inside. Then you can just press the button, comes out with weird music. Okay, that probably something they went through, and then the phone size actually keep getting smaller and smaller and bulkier.
It
My
kept getting
generation,
smaller, but then now it keep getting bigger.
yes, exactly, but it has more functions compared
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the previous phone. My generations, the most famous phone is Nokia 3310.
The
So
indestructible phone.
yes, people say, you try a dog, so a dog will die. That's the uncle joke that we get a lot. So back then the phone only has three functions: call, SMS, and also play your snake game. That's all. All right, that's the only thing you can do. The one more thing you can do is, if you're creative enough, you can actually use the code inside to create your own ringtone. So always we'll go and buy all those newspaper cut, and then we key in the code to get our ringtone. Those are the things that we do. But compared to now, very advanced. Okay, the next thing, your own PC. You know, now people spend like 10, 20,000 just to build their own PC. One monitor is no longer enough. Me currently are actually using two monitors to do these presentations. All right. I think Mervin, you're using like three or four, right?
No, no,
Just
no,
to
no.
run this.
I'm using a one long ones.
All right, cool, cool. Yeah, it's getting more expensive, but people are willing to spend to modify their own PC, to build up their own PC. Right. But compared to back then, PC is just something very dull and bulky. The screen now is flat. Back then, is we call it CRT. The screen is bigger and heavier than the CPU itself. All right. Yeah. The next thing, we talk about graphics. Games graphic, movie graphics, animation graphics. All right. Back then, we play Super Mario. It's like, wow, that's the best thing you can have in the world. Street Fighter, wow, those are the best console game you can get. Now, people are going for PS5. People are getting requesting for more realistic visual, like this Unreal Engine 5 is one of the things that we use in APU for students when they do games development. The graphic was so real. The quality of the graphics are super real. You can compare if you are guys someone who play game from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 5, you see the very big difference. Okay, in our daily usage of money as well, it has changed. During pandemic time, a lot of people now are using e-wallets, Grab Pay, Touch and Go. Back then, we still have to go to ATM to withdraw cold hard cash just to spend. Even worse, back in our grandparents' generations, there's no ATM. You have to hold your red color, maybe your Maybank account book. Just go to the counter, withdraw money, and the counter always closed at 4. So if you are late, you either have to wait for tomorrow or you go and pinjam money from your friend, if they have lah. So that's what happening. Okay. Yeah. Anyone know what is this? Anyone? I hope you guys can respond a bit on the chat box.
Well, student, do you know what it is? Please leave a little bit of a response in the comment section, yeah? But I know
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay. GPS. Yes.
There
Correct.
we
All right.
go.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think some of you guys are going to get your license soon. So this is something you're definitely gonna use. So yes, it's a GPS by the name Waze. So a lot of us, especially those who drive around, will use this a lot. Most of the time to avoid traffic jam, and most of the time to avoid police roadblock, because you don't want to
Yeah.
stuck there for a few hours just to go through the roadblock. So then you can get all those shortcuts here and there. So yes, this is actually our GPS functions, and a lot of times we use it to navigate around to go from point A to point B. But if you notice that a lot of games have actually adopted the GPS functions in their games as well. If
Yeah.
you heard of Pokemon Go, it used to be a youngster game. Now it's just uncle and auntie games. But it actually the fundamental of the game is actually they use GPS to track around for people to go around. All right. Back then there's no such thing as GPS. There's only physical map that you have to go to the kedai buku and buy, and then you have to figure out where is where. Here's the worst part is that I dare to say out of all the audience here, right, even myself, we can't really tell where it's not east, south, west, you know. So that's other thing that's happening. So yeah, a lot of improvement in our daily life. Yeah, this one I think everybody is missing this one for almost 2 years. All right.
QR boarding pass.
Yes, QR boarding pass, online registration, check in. Uh, Back then, if you want to fly, you have to be in the airport at least 2 hours. But to be safe, a lot of people will be there 4 hours earlier just to check in their luggage, just to queue up and everything. For me, I do a lot of business travel. Business travel as in like representing APU to go around different school or different places, states in Malaysia. So I don't check in luggage. I will do a lot of hand carry so that it cut my times. Yeah. So ever since AirAsia was in, right, they are the very first one who introduced the self check-in systems and then the mobile apps and everything. The check-in time has cut down from 4 hours to 1 hour. Meaning to say, if you don't have any big luggage to check in, you can just walk into the airport. You check in online or during your ride in your taxi or your Grab. You just check in, and then once you reach the airport, you can just go straight to the boarding counter. So that is some big changes in cutting times. You don't have to stuck in the airport for 4 to 6 hours just to get on board. Okay, so overall, technology actually have changed our life without us noticing sometimes. For like all these appliances, this Wi-Fi connectable appliances, I would say one very good example is Xiaomi. A lot of people know Xiaomi for two things only. It's either their phone or their power bank. Actually, Xiaomi provides what do you call that? Uh, Smart home systems. Okay,
I'm
if you
actually using it right now.
all right, cool. So if any of you guys happen to have a chance to visit One Utama, go and check out their store. A lot of their appliances are Wi-Fi connectable. So using your phone, you can actually control pretty much everything in your house.
Yeah, if you
Uh,
look at my lights behind me, if you look at the lights behind me, it's actually connected to my phone.
oh, I thought it was a 3D background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just something
So
deeper, huh?
yes, exactly my point. So for you guys who are going to join a degree soon, and by the time you graduate and buying house, right? By that time, a lot of house that you might be buying are smart home based house, which mean yeah, you get to control your house even if you are away from home. As long as you have internet connections, you can just manage your whatever that is in your house through your phone. All right. We are also introduced to RFID system for those who are driving, for those who are soon to be driving. Or this one also something I miss a lot.
I
Uh,
think students will be more familiar with all this, with this one specifically.
yeah, so, last time I think even both during your time or my time, right? If you want to bring someone out to have a movie, right? We are playing with our luck, one. We have to go to the cinema, look at the screen, and look at what time they have movie, and we don't really have a chance to like find out what movie is that. Just any movie that has the time that we have, and just go in. But
And
now
you
you don't
know what
even.
seat you get to
Yeah,
sit.
yeah. It's just based on luck. But
Yeah,
now you don't need, just open the phone,
book
check
your seats.
book your seats. You can even see which seat you want, which seat is available, what time.
How close the
And
seat is to the screen.
yes, exactly. So by that time, then only you go to the cinema and just check in. So convenient. Even in your banking system, all these things. This a lot of these things, you will actually feel it the moment you step into university or when you start working. Right, these are the things that actually you use even more frequently. So those are the things that will actually affect your daily life. But what about your career? What about the industry itself? Because if all these technology are changing our daily life, naturally it will happen to the workplace, it will happen to the manufacturing people, it will happen to a lot of businesses. So here are some example that you can see. For example, like in engineering itself, the usage of robotics is increasing in Malaysia. But one concept students must always understand is this: the so-called robotic is not the robot that you see on TV or on Japan, all those Gundam style kind of robot, not that kind. Malaysia use a lot of manufacturing robots. Alright, so if you do some research, you know what I'm talking about.
The
So
robotic arms that mix things
yes,
together.
yeah, you don't get to see the head and body, you just see the arm
Yeah,
moving around. Yep. So even not just hardware itself, even on software side, they are adopting AI, they are adopting data analytics to actually have uh, real life day to day kind of information so they can make adjustment, micro adjustment. Last time you can't. You have to do everything manually. You have to get the reports done manually. At best, you get Excel file kind of report, but now you don't need. You know, you can get everything within your tablet itself. Okay, that's tech in manufacturing. In health itself also, you will see these changes. If you watch Korean all those hospital drama or US based those healthcare kind of drama series, you see a lot of these kind of things also. Something like AI diagnosis, blockchain medical record. AI diagnosis means that before you even see a doctor, right? If you key in your symptom on the AI, they would actually based on the data collected in your community, they will actually be able to tell you most likely what kind of sickness you have based on a symptom that you have key in. Or some doctor they will use this as well to analyze to predict what kind of sickness you have. That is AI diagnosis. But in order to build this system, you need a lot of data. You need an AI that can actually continuously harvesting data to get a more accurate diagnosis. Okay. Another thing is blockchain medical. Blockchain, the word blockchain itself came from this so-called cryptocurrency or your Bitcoin. All right. Initially, it was used for finance industry, for banking, for investment, all those kind of things. But even the medical side, they are actually adopted this technology. So, what is blockchain medical record? Okay, a very simple example is that I believe most of you previously has visited a clinic. Now clinic is a very taboo thing. Everyone pergi clinic jangan lah. Everybody is scared of going to clinic now. So but previously, if you go to a clinic and if it was your first time going to the clinic, what the nurse does is that they will take out a brown color file or any color. They ask you, give me your IC. Is it your first time here? So they will start to record your information inside. All right. Then you see the doctor. Then after a few days, you say, oh yeah, cannot cure me one, the doctor, tipu one. Then you go to another clinic. Then the same thing happen. The nurse at that clinic will actually take out another brown file and ask you to fill in information. Then after you see that the doctor cannot cure again, you go to the third clinic. So on and so forth continuously, but still cannot cure. So what happened is that all these clinics, they don't have centralized information about you as a patient. So what happened is when they give you an antibiotic or if they give you a medicine, right, they don't know which medicine that actually work for you and which doesn't. So they will just actually give you the same thing. If you go to a new clinic, they'll give you the same thing over and over again. So if you go to the same clinic the second time, they will say, oh, this medicine doesn't work. They'll give you another new, stronger type. But with blockchain medical record, what happened is that if you go to the clinic A, they have recorded your symptom, the medicine that they have given you, but it doesn't work for you. You go to clinic B, based on the record in the blockchain medical record, they will know that you have tried uh, the first medicines. So they will give you a stronger one. So what happened is that it's a centralized medical record of a patient. Even if one day, if you travel overseas, right, touch wood, something happened to you, you are sent into the hospital of that country. They might not know who you are, but based on this blockchain technology, they can actually plug your information from Malaysia's clinic or hospital. So they will know what is your allergy, what's your symptom, what kind of medical history you have. So that's the whole idea of the so-called blockchain medical records. Okay, so in a way, what it's telling you is a doctor not just need to know what happened. You don't just need to know how to treat your patients. You also need to understand and adopt technology as well. Okay, next thing is on general business. You see, before pandemic, nobody think about using Zoom, Google Meet, all this kind of thing. Nobody bother about using all these things. The very first so-called this Zoom or Google meeting, right? It's actually Skype. I think a lot of you heard of it, but Skype screw up big time because they didn't really do well when the pandemic hit. They just leave it as B only. Then Zoom came up. Then Google Meet came up. Okay, but the whole idea is this: what we are doing today is something I can say futuristic already. It might be a norm for you now, but before pandemic, nobody thought of this. Even us as a counselor of APU, so we have to go to school, set up our events there, do all those career fair manually. Now we can't do that, so everyone is forced to pick up technology. So this is one of the platform that a lot of people are using right now. And also, business are adopting to a lot of AI, adopting to a lot of what do you call it, cyber platform. So they are bringing a lot of their business to online platform. A lot of business before pandemic, they still stick with their physical activity, but because of the pandemic, nobody can go around, move around, right? They now focus more on the digital platform. Even you yourself or your parent now actually shop more on Shopee, Lazada, or even those who can read Chinese will go for Taobao. All right. Rather than last time, right, you will just go to physical shop and buy stuff. Now you just buy everything online. Okay. Even for government side, the one thing that everyone is using is MySejahtera. That is something you can run away from. All right. Yes, even government, for them to engage us as a rakyat, they have they have made things easier for a lot of us. For me, who are working adult, one thing that I find there is I like the most is actually when I file my tax. My dad generation, you want to file tax, if you are lazy, you have to pay accountant. Accountant will go to the office for you and settle everything for you. But now you can just file your tax online. You don't even have to go to the LHDN office to do that. Okay. Even for mobile technology, like I mentioned earlier, phone is just for SMS, call, play those snake games. That's all. But now phone, a lot of different functions. Okay. So when there is software, there is hardware. What I'm trying to say is that uh, those technology that you see, let's say in the Marvel's universe series, right, especially Iron Man, that part, right, you see all those kind of stuff. Those are actually uh, something futuristic, but definitely something is going to happen in your lifetime or in my lifetime.
Like
Right?
Jarvis.
Yes, correct, correct. We have series, but a bit more dumb lah. But yeah, the idea is that it's happening, but why is it so slow or why is it not happening so fast? It's because these terms that I always use, the hardware limitations. Software has been very advanced, but in the market, they still need a lot of new hardware technology to cope with software. So when students are involving themselves in IT studies, right, they write a lot of software, but they work along with this so-called, we call them computer engineers. These two people will work together to come up with hardware and software that can cope with each other. All right. That's why if you can see, right, you guys are lucky. Last time our USB, we don't have USB. We have what do you call
Hard
that?
disk.
Not
Uh,
hard disk, the
floppy
floppy
disk.
disk. Square floppy disk. That's our only storage. And then there is USB. And
Only
then there
CD.
is yeah. The CD first. CD, CDR, DVD, Blu-ray. Then you have your USB. Now nobody even bother buying USB because why? We are so used to using
Cloud
uh
storage.
cloud storage. The very first free cloud storage everyone have now is
iCloud.
uh
Google Drive.
your iCloud, Google Drive, all this. They give you I think about 15 GB. Even for APU, we give our students I think 5 terabytes of cloud storage for all our students. So nobody actually use pen drive anymore. As long as you have internet connections, you don't have to carry a pen drive around. You can just plug the data or the file you want from your cloud server. You can just share it to your friend. Just a link. You don't need to wait. Tonight I go to your house and pass it to you. You don't need to do that anymore. So yeah, these are some of the news report that I plucked from. As you can see, this is a drone. So what we are trying to do in Malaysia is that we, instead of using human to fertilize or to spray all those what do you call 杀虫剂
Insecticide. Pesticide.
insecticide, yeah, pesticide, to your agriculture,
Your paddy field.
paddy field. You, if after this pandemic, please go to Skincha and see the paddy field. I hope you can see drone flying around. But okay, the whole idea is this: why do they adapt to all these things? Because human always have error, but computer error is lesser. So and then they give actually a more accurate control towards agriculture as well. So it's happening. It's definitely happening. I have seen in China. I have seen in US. They are using all these things. All right.
And I
So
think it was just last week's report where actually several weeks also they were saying that Malaysian police are using drones to do surveillance because
yes,
they don't want to approach any EMCO area, emergency MCO area, where there's a lot of high risk of spreading COVID. So they use this drone to go and monitor these places. And obviously, the drone operators and the drone designers needed to study all these kind of things before they implement it in today's time.
yes. A lot of usage of drone, even in Malaysia, right? I did some research actually. In the not in say in the future, lah, but if you can make a career out of drone, as a student, because there is a license
Drone piloting.
yes, correct. You cannot fly the actual planes, fly drone, but you can get license, and they are actually paying people to fly. I think in the future, when you want to use drone technology, there will be legalizations or
Mm.
licensing for this as well.
And
So
just to add on, in KL City, students, if you don't know, if you're thinking about, hey, can I buy a drone and go to KL City and just take photos of the Petronas Tower or whatnot, skyscrapers, is actually Malaysia technology is so high these days is that whenever your drone take lift off from the ground, somebody in the police station nearby will be notified that, hey, there's a drone without pilot. There's a drone without license is taking off, and then the
yeah.
police will come to your space within 15 minutes time. If you don't believe me, try it out yourself because it happened to me. But anyways, I think the most important takeaway. I want to ask first, students, if you haven't tried any drones, please leave number one in the chat box. And in the chat box, if you haven't piloted a drone before, leave number one in the chat box. And Chiseng, do your
Yes.
APU actually have a course for that? If students are interested in drones, will they be
Uh,
able to touch any kind of drone in your course, in any of your course?
we don't have specifically for drone,
Mm,
but what we did is that we actually experiment a lot with drone.
mm,
Meaning to say, part of the projects that students are doing are actually drone related.
mm,
One thing that I think is worth shouting out is that actually our students represented APU in this Atos, I think it's Atos Worldwide Challenge. They actually won the number one in that challenge using drone concept, doing something like what I'm showing you right now. Of course, I went to our engineering lab, our IoT lab itself. One of the students, not one of the students, sorry, one of the learning part that student has is also on drone itself.
oh.
Because it's not specifically we have one syllabus for that, but then it's like part of the part within the syllabus itself, they actually covers on this lah.
Oh, wow. So if students are interested in more hands-on, uh, uh, practical sense of skill, they actually go through your course, and your course actually provide hands-on skills that even touch on drones.
Yes, yes, especially for students who took out this network system studies or megatronics. Because
Mm,
if you are someone who are keen towards physical products, then you go for engineering, like
all right.
megatronic. Okay, if you are someone who are more on behind the scene, a software part, then you go for any of our computer science studies.
Mm,
Okay. So
yep.
another things, this is for accountants, it's also a wake up call. Okay, sorry for the picture. This is something I took from a projector that one of our accounts program leader shows. Uh, yeah, because he just showed for a few seconds, and take photo and put here. So what happened is that the current role of accountants are these are all the standard names that you came across as for those who actually work in accounting industry, but in the future, they are changing all the roles with a fancier name. The whole idea why they change all these names is not just for the sake of like, oh yeah, yeah, sound fancier. It's more like all these people, aside from knowing the debit, the credits, the balance sheets and everything in accounts, they actually are required to go through classes, and they need to obtain license to operate a certain softwares related to their industry itself. All right, that's what happening. And students who, even if you're not taking IT today, the whole idea of what I'm trying to say is that you cannot run away from IT. You cannot run away from technology. Part and partial of the industry you are going to work in, they will introduce their own software, their own IT system. Like me, I do marketing. I study marketing. I don't do any software or anything. But part of my job is also to go into our customer service side. We call it live chat. So we need to know how to play around with live chat as well, in order to reach out to you guys, students who are asking a lot of questions or inquiry about what APU is all about. So although you don't have to know, but you cannot run away from it when you're going out, when you go on work. Okay. This is discussed by the Malaysia Institute of Accounts. That they need their students to actually start to understand and adopt new technology as they go on and work. Okay.
Exactly. I think students need these days need to worry about, because you can't think of a traditional career anymore. Because back in your mom or your parents' days, or your even grandparents' days, profession can be very straightforward. You know, whatever job is very straightforward. If you think about doctor, they just doctor. If you think about accountant, they just accountant. But moving forward, because we are going into the technology revolution, moving forward, a lot of these jobs will be replaced, very much so. Because like accountant, like what Mrs. Chiseng here mentioned, accountants are slowly transition into AI work, because AI can do better work than, I
Yep.
mean, do faster and better and more efficient than a physical human accountant. So these jobs will be replaced very, 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 very soon.
Yeah.
Even for lawyers, even to some extent, doctors are being replaced by machines. And so the only thing you need to worry now is that, will the traditional job be replaced by technology, by digitalization? Because financial, insurance agents, property agents, all these will be the ones that is replaced first. Because at any given time, these people can be replaced by softwares. If you want a insurance, you just go to the insurance and then just type in whatever you want, instead of looking for a person contact number and then ask, hey, do you have this and this. AI will replace all of this. So
Yep.
the things you need to worry is that, will your job be replaced in the coming 5 years, if not 10 years, or if even 2 years time? So that is something you need to worry about. I am very worried about this myself even. So this, I think what Chiseng is trying to say today is that, you see a lot of technology, but how do you apply this technology in today's day, and how do you translate that into your decision making in the future, right, Chiseng?
Yep. Correct. Correct. Absolutely correct. So another thing why this picture here is very important is some students will say, tak apa lah, then I go to a smaller company. Well, so sorry to say, even government are pushing all the small and medium company to adopt new technology. So you cannot run away. Uh, all those like what Marvin mentioned just now, all those basic accounts, all those stuff, right? What IR 4.0 trying to do is they are replacing all these tedious tasks with AI, so that the future employee or employer, they can focus more on quality productions, higher intelligence kind of business operations. So it's not entirely say, okay, you are obsolete, but it's more towards you need to cope with new things. For you, you are younger, so you have more energy to understand new things. If, for example, your parents or your grandparents or even me, right? Eventually, when they say, "Oh yeah, your job no longer available, you need to adapt to new things." The very big question is, can you or can you not? Those who cannot, they can retire. If you earn enough, you can retire. But you guys are still young. You have 30 to 40 years down the road before your so-called retirement. So if even before you start work, you already obsolete, that will be a very big problem. That's
Yeah.
why when we bring in all those programs that you are learning, the content, it has to be more futuristic, future proof, so that when you step out from the university itself, you will feel that you are more competitive against other students. You know.
Exactly. So if you're talking about more serious term, let's say if you talk about auditor of a small business or even a big business, your boss will more likely to pay a software maybe $150 per month, rather than pay you 3,000 per month to go through your company's audit. Why would they pay you 3,000 when I can pay $150 every month to do my audit? So these people will be replaced first. So whenever you are going into hiring, when you're going into a job, your boss will more likely look at will more likely hire you if you have a digital or technological background, rather than a traditional
Yes.
academic background.
Correct. Correct. And I'll be honest with you. Even banking, because I have experienced this, even the bankers, right, like CIMB, Maybank, all those, right, if you have a business account, right, what they did is that they actually offer so-called accounting reports or something like that of your business operations. Um so you don't even have to hire your own accountants. If you tap your whole account systems to CIMB or to Maybank, right? They are the one who will generate for you. So in a way, they are telling you that you don't need to hire accountants in your own company or anything. So a lot of technology are replacing human
Mm,
nonetheless. So if you choose a course, please choose something that is future proof,
yeah.
something that allows you to be more advanced than the technology there is.
But
Okay.
we are not trying to scare students off from studying. We're not trying to scare students off from studying accounting or lawyering or doctoring. No,
Yes,
no, we're
correct.
not trying to scare them off. But we are trying to say is that all the easier tasks, as an accountant, as a auditor, as a lawyer, all the easier tasks will soon be replaced by AI. But so when these things happen, the work that you are doing, it's going to get harder and harder. The things that AI cannot do, the things that need
Yes,
human hands to do. So your job initially back then will pay 3,000. Now you pay you not back then you pay 3,000, but you work a normal job, easy, medium to hard difficulties. But then as time goes on, all the easier tasks will be replaced by AI. So the things that is left are the harder work. So you being paid 3,000, 4,000 ringgit per month, but you're doing a harder job because the easier jobs are being replaced by AI. So, but we're not trying to discourage anybody, but this is the reality that we are
yes.
facing without any technological
Yeah.
background.
It's not like you say, oh, like that, I don't study account. It's not that. Even if you want to study medic also, you still have to catch up with technology.
Yeah.
Nobody can escape from this. No matter which industry you go into, people are adopting. Even a fishmonger or a nelayan,
And
they
to do
are
live stream.
yeah, they do live stream and sell fish.
Yeah.
And then they say, never mind, I will deliver from Skinchan to your house in Serdang. That's what happening. What happened to the rest of people who are doing easy job? I'll be honest with you, they will be replaced. The only way for us to move forward as a human or as a students or future employee is that you have to constantly
Adapt.
adapt
Mm.
new technology. Yeah, like I mentioned, the fishmonger, the nelayan itself, they stuck at home. They can go to the sea, but they cannot go to the pasar, or they cannot sell their fish to a lot of people. So what they do is they do live broadcast, so people can bid for their fish, all those kind of things. So you have to think of a way to change. The pandemic forces a lot of people to change. A very easy example is this: your during pandemic, the only way for you to get char kway teow is you cannot go to the kopitiam, so you have to order from Grab Food or from your this Food Panda. Right? Last time the kopitiam uncle and auntie, they don't want to sign up one, but in order to survive, what they do, they end up signing up as well. They end up allowing this Grab and also Food Panda to deliver their food as well. So that's what happening. It's uh I think in Cantonese they call what 天無絕人之路 or in English I will say
there's no
that.
there's no certainties in every road, so
Yeah,
everything needs to change at when the time comes.
yeah,
I think to add on to Benjamin Hong's question, because again his question was what happens to the rest of the people who's doing easy job. The answer is very easy: you become obsolete. That's all. You become
yep,
obsolete. So the only way to not become obsolete is to be the ones that is creating new technology, or are the ones that are doing difficult jobs, or are the ones that is specializing in certain things. Like
correct,
what we're talking about today, because we're talking about technology and digitalization and digital revolution. So a lot of those people that go into IT, they will have to choose a pathway that they specialize in. Like just like we mentioned, there are engineers in drone, or software engineers for drone, or even mechanical engineer for drone. And banking system, they also need new ITs or software programmers and computer scientists in order to make their financial system more
correct,
robust.
correct.
So you'll see that more and more jobs become more specialized and becomes harder, because the easier task will be the easier task will be given to the AI, where they can do it more cheaply and more effectively than a human.
Yes, correct.
So again, the easier jobs are obsolete, will become obsolete, like drivers, lorry drivers. Not to say they are easy jobs, they are very tiring jobs, but because nobody wants to do them, they are the ones to go first. So your job as a student is to identify a pathway that is more future proof. What more pathway that is more future proof than technology itself? Am I right, Chiseng?
Yes, because the biggest challenge now is that a lot of people don't understand technology. Okay, when they don't understand technology, but then they need to use technology. What they do is they will hire people who understand technology, and they will pay them more because they don't understand, but they need someone who understand. So for me, if I understand technology and you don't understand, you need to use my technology. You pay me more lah because I know better than you.
Mm.
So that's what's happening in the current market now because a lot of these business owners are the older generations who don't understand technology, couldn't do programming, uh, might not even know how to use smartphone very well.
Yep.
Okay,
I
so
think the most apparent example is Amazon and people like Shopee and Lazada, all that. Back
yep,
then, we needed a human being to sort the boxes for each address and which zone they go to. The parcels that you receive when you order things. So you needed humans to go and sort this thing out. It was tedious, and then the business owner have to pay you thousand something over a month to do that. Why would they pay so many employees to sort boxes when they can pay a system architecture designer? They study technology, they know technology, they know the mechanism behind it. They come and design a track that can sort parcels, and then it only costs a fraction in totality, in a fraction of what they have to pay as compared to using human
yep.
labors, right?
So yeah, pretty much that's the thing now. So that's why IT or computer science program has been a very hot cake within this few years. That a lot of people are looking towards this degree program
Mm.
because honestly in Malaysia we require about I think 11 to 12% new fresh grade every year, but so far our market only able to produce about 3%. What it meant is that the every year market need about 12% of students who graduates that is from IT background, but Malaysia only are able to produce 3%.
Mm.
They are like still lacking behind. We are still lacking behind when it comes to talent from computer science or IT.
All
So
right.
yep.
What if on top of you say, because you say Malaysia is lacking behind, what if I ask you one question? What if students starting to all the students trying to start to enroll into IT? What would happen? And would I meet a lot of competitions? And how can I meet with all these competitions? How do I challenge these competitions?
First of all, I would say not everyone are keen to go into IT. So you won't have a case where there are tons of students. Okay. Secondly, is like this one I need to hustle APU a bit. In APU we actually chop down all our IT and computer science program into a specialized program, like what you are seeing now, like cyber security, cloud, network, da da da. We have 18 different specialized program for students to choose. So uh, our students are able to compete with a lot of students from different university. Main reason is because they specialize on key parts uh, of the IT or computer science industries they are going
Exactly.
into.
if
Okay.
you if you are the students that worry about, yeah, if IT so gang, then everyone enroll in IT, then how do I compete? If you are those kind of student that ask this kind of question, the answer is you must specialize. You must have a strong suit that you are professional in. Let's say for banking, if you are IT but you are banking specialized, some people might be more mechanical specialized. So that is the answer for you.
Yep.
If your question is, if so many students enroll into IT, how do I compete? How do I survive? The answer is specialization, which
Yes.
APUs offers as well.
Correct. So I'll show you. I'll just skip all this thing, and I will show you. No, this one not important. Okay, this is something. Before I show you the thing, this is something that I want to show you. In Klang Valley, which is Selangor and KL area. Look at the purple one, not the blue one. The average salary is about 3,003 for entry level. Okay, once you move into the management level, right, it will jump to 7.5. Yeah, 7.5, 7.8 at least. That is IT. So if you are going for software engineer, the entry level it could be go up to 4,000. And once you go into the management positions, right, your salary are up to 10K. So uh, it the indicator is that the industry are willing to pay. They are definitely willing to pay because we have lack of talents. We are still way far apart from reaching that one. Okay, so specializations that was mentioned, these are all the list of specializations. So why is specialization so important? Is that a lot of employer now they no longer like last time. Oh, you come in as a general IT student, then you can do here a bit, there a bit. But the employer now they don't want that. They want you to straight away specialize on one part, and I hire you purely for that part.
Mm.
I'll take cybersecurity for example. Although students are learning specialized on cybersecurity, but in actual fact, in the cybersecurity industry itself, they have different applications to the market. So even if you today study cybersecurity, right, when you go in and work, even your employer in cybersecurity, they won't expect you to do everything. They will ask you to focus on one key part of the cybersecurity. So that is what happening. That's why they no longer want a general computer science students. If they have a choice to hire a pure cybersecurity student, they will go ahead and hire a cybersecurity student. So it kind of make you more competitive compared to general computer science students because in Malaysia, a lot of universities are still offering general computer science, general IT here and there. So these are the things that makes us different and help students to achieve uh, employability. All right. I don't have the picture here, but what happened is that Kementerian Pelajaran Malaysia actually did a research back in 2018 and also this year 2021. APU students, Malaysian students are still on 100% employability rate. Meaning to say when they finish their study, I won't say guarantee, but based on the record, yes, you definitely have a job out there. No matter you are from IT, engineering, business studies, or finance, you definitely have a job out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one of the also one of the reason is that IT is a hot cake now is that because this pandemic, it showed that hey, everything we need to do it online. So when we move things online, there are going to be a lot of problems in terms of the software side of things because so many users are using your website or using your platform or using your app. A
Yep.
lot of issue will come out. So this business, let's say the business met with a problem, a very bad problem. There's a bug that crashed the whole system. They cannot take any days off, because any days off they're rugging money, they're losing money. So in order to not have that happen, they need to employ a lot of specialists in order to come in, to make sure everything runs as smoothly as possible and runs as quickly as possible to update as soon as possible so they don't meet with all this kind of
Correct.
problem.
Correct. So like I said earlier, there's hardware, there's software. So the hardware guy, so the software guy will be people from all these part. Okay. And then when you go on and work, these are the guy you are collaborating with as well. Right. Although they are all engineer from different background, right? But uh, if you look at our engineering program, right, students are at a certain level, they still need to understand programming. So they don't need to write the program, but they need to know how the programming works. So in a way, it's also telling students that uh, yeah, even engineers need to know how to run programming. So, but then yes, these two people working closely with each other. What else is here? Yeah, that is pretty much everything. The next thing I will share is on our scholarship. Yeah, so before I go on this one, any question, guys? You can just leave any open questions on the chat box. We will just reply
Yeah.
to it.
Students, if you have any question, please feel free to leave it in the chat box because we are talking about a very heavy subject here today because it is something that you have to concern about your next coming life
Yes, correct.
because like I said, traditional jobs are not secure anymore. I'm not joking. I'm not saying it as a catchphrase or anything. It is not secure anymore. A nurse not secure anymore. An accountant not secure anymore. Mama seller, I don't know. Maybe I left mama. Maybe mama seller is a bit more secure. But you get what I mean. A lot of jobs are not secure anymore. What other consideration I need to think about when I move into my career, because you don't want to study something for 5 years, then only go out in the working world and then only discover, hey, your job got replaced by an
Yep.
IT engineer. You don't want that
Uh,
to happen.
yeah. I would say one thing you can do is when you are surveying, by the end of this year or next year or early of next year when you finish your exams, when you are surveying for courses, don't just look at the name of the courses. Don't just look at the name of the university. Get their brochure. Look at the modules they are teaching you, the content you are learning.
Mm.
From the content, you will roughly know the things you are learning. Is it futuristic or is it still same as
Future proof.
previously? Yeah, correct. So
Because
those are
yeah, because remember, kids, because you still need to study for imagine another 5 years, some even 7 years, because you need to study your masters. You need to study all these years. By then, time have moved on. So you need to consider that already. Let's say if you want to do graphics design or content creation or whatever film, would that be replaced in the 5 years to come? You don't consider the next 5 years. You need to consider the 5 years after your employment as well. So this technology is definitely the frontier of career these days, because no other job is more secure than the ones that are creating the platform that we are all working in. Isn't that right?
yep, yep. Even for IT, those who are from IT one, right? Because I have a few friends from IT industry as well. So the only answer they can give me is they have to go through continuous learning. Meaning to say, even if they are in their 30s, late 40s now, if they want to sustain themselves in the industry, they
Mm,
still have to pick up new technology, new
mm,
programming, new software that was introduced to the market so that they are still in the game. All right.
mm. I want to speak from my own experience and from my own knowledge, because I have a law degree and a law background. So, understanding that back then we used to think that, hey, lawyers are not easily replaced, because you need to argue in court, you need to consult with your clients. But no, just this year, a Malaysian IT and a law grad. I'm not too sure whether a law grad, but he has some law background. He was managed to able to create this platform that is able to consult clients and give really accurate results. That is because he has an IT background. He has software programming. He has technology on his side. So, yeah, needless to say, it is very, very. The risk of being replaced is very, very real, especially the jobs that deals with numbers even more, like accountant, mathematicians, all this kind of thing. Because why they want to hire you when they can just pay a subscription fee to a cloud software, and then the software will replace you, right? So if you are a business owner also, you have to think about it. Hey, why would I want to hire somebody, a labor, rather than pay a subscription fee? Because subscription fee
Yep.
is much lower. But anyways, Chiseng, can you run me through the courses? How long are the courses? Because like I mentioned just now, some days, some in one day, they need to consider 5 years down the road. So how long
Yep.
is the course?
So basically the courses after your SPM, you have two pathway you can choose from APU, which is a diploma or a foundations. So
Mm,
foundation is a 1 year course, diploma is a 2 year, but don't worry about the 2 years. If you take foundation 1 year, you will go straight into degree for 3 years. Okay. If you take a diploma for 2 years, you will go into degree for 2 years. So I would say in average you are spending about 4 years time just to complete your degree. But for engineering it's a bit different. Engineering is 5 year course because in order for students to obtain a license, a professional license from Board of Engineer Malaysia, the engineering program, the degree itself has to be a 4 year degree. So you start off with the foundations or a diploma, top up everything is about 5 to 5.5 years time. All right.
so
So
exactly
engineering is
like
a
I
bit
say,
different.
you need to
Mhm.
consider that after the 5 years, will your
Correct.
job still be stable? Now, obviously, because we're dealing with technology here, you are in safe hands, isn't it?
Yes.
And
Uh
what about the college and campus life, if you have any? And where is your campus?
our campus are actually located in Bukit Jalil itself, very near to your place, very near our in Technology Park Malaysia, Bukit Jalil.
Mm,
The landmark that you always find is our neighbor is actually Astro. We are just across the street from Astro.
mm.
So from I think some of you guys are staying nearby. So we take you about 5-10 minutes to reach to our campus. It's very strategic located. Um, We also have like, let's say if you are staying somewhere in Cheras or anything, you just take train to LRT Bukit Jalil. We have free shuttle to bring students in as well.
Mm. We have a question from Chin Jer Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Is Bachelor's of Computer Science Intelligence System involved with AI? I think that's a very good question. But before I give my take, Chi Sing, what's your answer?
Okay. Yes, it involves AI, but okay, put it this way: intelligence system is like the mother of all those. Okay, it's like the umbrella itself. Under intelligence system, AI is part and partial of it.
Mm.
Okay, yes, you definitely will study involved in AI itself. Yeah.
I want to add that these days, actually, AI is low key in everything. I don't know if you understand the word low key, students. I think a lot of students will understand the word low key. But anyways, AI is very low key involved in everything that we do now. Because let's say you study computer science, ended up like Mark Zuckerberg, you created your own platform. You need to be able to sort your own users to different groups and process all the data. And in processing all this data, again, you don't hire somebody to sit down and process the data. You have an AI to do it for you. So definitely it is part of what you study. And we have another question from Noor Hazika. Can studying will studying in AIT score jobs overseas?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Let me put it this way: if you study, you graduate, you come out, and you expect a job straight away overseas, I think no. But the way, okay, the way how overseas company hire you, right? The nearest overseas we have is called Singapore, across the bridge only. You know, why Malaysia keep on having this lack of talent issue is that, oh, if I am a talent, I go there, I earn three times the money. A lot of people will go there after they get their specialized license. So how do you score a job overseas is very simple. The moment you finish your studies, you come out and work in the IT industries. Um, how IT industry works is that as you accumulate more experience, you are actually allowed to take professional exams. You know, uh, certified exam maybe from Microsoft, IBM, which my friend is currently in Singapore now. He specialized in a system called SAP systems. Okay, so you can specialize in any of these. You don't have to take everything. You can just focus on one that applies to you. Okay, when you are professionally certified, these are the time when you can apply for overseas job. He applied for Singapore, he applied for Australia,
Mm.
but it seems like the Singapore one pay better, so he decided to just go Singapore anyway.
And again, with these days, right? I think it was a few weeks ago where there was news that this Malay students that study engineering and IT that went overseas and worked with Tesla.
Yes.
If not mistaken, she had I think if not either IT background or engineering background or computer science
Mm-hmm.
background. I'm not too sure
Mm-hmm.
which, but yeah, she managed to land a job in Tesla and then became a
Yep.
very proud citizen of Malaysian representative. Yeah, we have another question from Yi Ching Yang. I've heard that there are programming bootcamp. How is that compared to a degree? Do you really need a CS degree for a job, a computer science degree for a job?
Okay. Bootcamp is good for you to enhance your knowledge. Degree is important not because I'm working in APU. I say degree is important. Degree is important because by the end of the day, when a company, especially those multinational company like Nestle, what else? Like Reckitt Benckiser or like KPMG, Ernst and Young, all this kind of company, when they want to hire someone, the first requirement from their HR department, their human resource department is that the talent that you're hiring must come with a degree. Okay, that's one thing. Okay. Secondly, let's say today you land into a job. Luckily enough, you finish your SPM, you landed on a job with your bootcamp knowledge and everything, right?
Mm,
Okay. Your employer, in order for them to upgrade you to a management positions or to a senior management positions, whatnot, right? They still need you to have a degree at least
yes.
or a master. That is a requirement.
Mm,
Okay, I have students who are working with what is that called? Mr. DIY. Yes, okay, Mr. DIY. No joke. This is actually a real life one. I was able to met with a friend of this Mr. DIY. So the friend was a very young chap. So he said, yeah, I'm looking for a degree. But then I said, why? You've been doing so well with Mr. DIY. But he said the boss said that I want to promote you, but I cannot promote you because if you don't have a degree, a proper degree, sadly enough, you cannot progress from that.
Mm.
So yeah, in the end of the day, if you want to play the corporate games, that's one of the requirements.
Yeah, because in corporation, it serves more for their reputation to hire somebody who is more specialty rather than somebody who learns coding by the side, a coding hobbyist, if you will. So I know a lot of students out there, especially the more smarter students, they learn coding by themselves because they heard or how important codings are. So they have a hobby in coding. But the
Yep.
thing is, when you go to a corporate world or professional world, a lot sadly to say, a lot of time they look at your titles. If you have a titles in computer science, that is going to be very very different from a person who is a hobbyist coding
Yes.
or coder.
Correct.
I hope that answers your question. But like I said, these days titles are important. So, and obviously degree itself, we cannot say I think Chi Seng will agree with me that hobby coding and also bootcamp coding, you don't learn as much in depth in terms of theoretical side of things and in terms of industrial level knowledge when it comes to degree, because in degree you get to expose to a lot of industry players and industry technology. But versus your hobby coding, you probably learn from YouTube or learn from like master class. They don't necessarily have an up to date academical accreditation for them to teach you. But in degree, you obviously have professors and lecturers that have a lot of industrial experience and obviously all the specialized theoretical knowledge for you to
Mhm.
learn, isn't it?
That's yep, correct. That's a follow-up question. Then internship available. What company internship? Okay. Um, you can internship is definitely important for me. I always advise students is that internship is the time you try out on the company that uh, you might like to work in the future, because the internship is going to take you about 4 months. So during that 4 months, you will apply to a company that you might have interest in, try out. You might like, if you like their environment. Most of the time, based on my students' feedback, is that they will actually receive a verbal or official advance employment from their internship company. That, because for us is when you finish your year 2 in your degree, you go into internship, then you come back for your final year, then officially you graduate. But a lot of employer are willing to wait for our students even after 1 year to ask them to join, or some they will ask them finish their internship, continue part time with them, all right, while they're finishing what do they call, their final years. All right. What
And
are the
also,
company?
and
What?
aside
Mhm.
from touching on the internship, obviously APU also have a lot of programs like competitions and stuff like that to expose their students to more different platform, isn't it?
Yes, correct. One of the way for our students to be more competitive is that we actually send out our students for competition. Not to say send out, we encourage students to take up competition, and we don't just ask you to sign up and then leave you be. We always assign a supervisor, which is our lecturer, to guide you on how to tackle with the competition. That's why on and off, you will see a lot of shout out or a lot of announcement of APU students winning engineering competition, winning finance competition, winning cybersecurity competitions here and there. That's another way for students to uh, get more experience,
Hmm.
to be more confident about themselves. And for me, the most important part is for your future employer to take note who you are,
Yeah.
because a lot of time the judges are people from the industry itself.
Mm. So, in all this competition, usually there will be a grant or something to offer to the students once they have
Yes.
a research project or a engineering project or a IT projects. The project will be the winners of the project will be given a grant, and obviously not just grant, they given the exposure and platform.
Yep.
So potential employers will be able to spot them from the crowd, because
Yep.
now you put yourself in a very high pedestal, and then the employers will be like, hey, I need this technology. If you created a new technology, I need this technology in my system. That will really help me or save my cost a lot. So that will really jumpstart your career,
Yep.
because like again, people want title. not just the degree title, they also want the title, oh, you're the winner of this and this and this and this program, which the APUs obviously offer.
Yep.
So yeah, instead of just instant internship itself, other exposures will also work.
Yeah. What
And
what what Mervin say actually, it happens, you know.
oh,
The one of two of our students I remember, they one is from business, one is from IT. So they partner up to come up with a app or something like a solutions, a software solutions, on a kickstart competition. So they are actually awarded, I think 100,000 ringgit to kickstart their business in Malaysia. So
mm,
there's those kind of competition, and then there are competitions like the hackathon, those kind of competition. So depends on what, but the whole idea is really for students to build up their confidence and to for the industry people to take note of your existence as students.
what about Chiseng, what about freelance opportunity, or if I want to start my own business after I graduating, are there any possibilities in that?
Of course, there is always we have students from second years already running their own web development company, small scale, because they still have to focus on their studies. They are those who are it depends. I would say it depends because to run a business you need the funding on that. If you have the funding, by all means go ahead. I do came across a few students who has I will use the word balls. You know, you really need to have the balls, the confidence to run it. It's not like, oh, I study 2 year diploma now I can run the business here. Yes, you can, but you must be confident yourself. You must have what to call it, enough knowledge because even during our diploma, right, students already learn a lot of fundamental stuff. So if they're confident enough, they can do freelance, they can take up freelance project, they can set up their own small business.
Mm.
Yeah.
And just now we saw from your slide, because you mentioned you will, let's say if an IT engineer, you will always collaborate with another students from, let's say, a more hardware side of things. They will always collaboration, right? So I think for a lot of students that is more entrepreneurialized, or they are a bit more
Yep.
business minded. What they can do is they will always, like your school offers, students will know a lot of other students from different degree from the same school. Let's say I'm from the engineering side of things in APU, and then another student is from the IT side of things from APU. I can always know more, know from these friends, and then collaborate to create a product. And once I have a rough idea of a product that I want to create, let's say if you don't have a funding, a smarter student will always go to something called a VC, or a venture capitalist. Basically, they are investors. They kind of examine you, hey, to see whether your product or your idea will have any marketable shit. The word is marketability. So they will always look at your product and see whether it's good or not, and then they will fund you if your product is up to par or has a future. So that is for more students that is a bit more smarter, or more business sense, or more business minded. So like I said, they collaborate with another student from the same college or from other different college. But because since APU offering a lot of different specialization, so definitely you're able to find another students in APU that can collaborate with and create a product. And when you create a product, you can find an investor, and that investor will fund you, and that's when you create your own entrepreneurship. Isn't that right, Chiseng?
Yep, that's what's happening. Actually, I mean, if even if you don't talk about business, so for example, like games development is one of the IT program that we have. So students are learning how to do the graphical part and then the programming part of games development. So I was managed to speak with one of the games development lecturer.
Mm,
He did mention that, yeah, the games development students actually have collaborations with students who are from degree in animations in their final year project, for example, to come up with the games with a higher quality.
mm,
Because if you are games development students, you will learn more about games programming. You learn graphical part, but lesser. So in order for them to enhance their project, so they actually collaborated with students from different degree from the animations, the visual effects sides. Okay, so there are a lot of collaboration that can happen if you are someone who are good at programming, data analytics, but then you want to venture yourself into the financial industry, you might collaborate with people from accountings or banking and finance students, or even actuarial students, to come
Mm,
up with the systems, that tackles issue regarding to finance.
mm,
It's open for all. Yep. Depends on what you're doing. Like another example is we in 2018 we actually joined this Proton challenge where we redesigned the whole Proton car. We have the actual physical car actually. So
oh,
what happened is that on the shell itself, the whole car was designed by our transportation design students. But when it comes to all those electronic chipset, chipboard, sensor, they actually collaborated with the engineering, the mechatronic students, to finish up the interior, all those electronic parts. So yeah, there are a lot of unlimited collaborations
mm, mm.
that's happening.
And obviously, speaking of computer science, I think a lot of kids these days will are aware of like what Chiseng mentioned just now, bitcoins and cryptocurrencies. And as time move on, if this kind of new generation currencies are to be picked up by a lot of big companies, they will definitely need a lot of data scientists, computer scientists, IT engineers in order to process all these things, or to create a platform that receive this new version of currencies. Obviously, this is a bit more out there, a bit more out of the box, but definitely we cannot disregard things that we can see potentials like this.
Yep.
I know a lot of students now already maybe themselves might have a couple of Bitcoin lying around, maybe not one Bitcoin, maybe a fraction of a Bitcoin lying around. So you can see if you are those kind of students, these kind of courses will definitely improve your life and obviously give your work and your future opportunities much more stable ground rather than the traditional careers out there. All right. So I think, Chiseng, if you have anything to ask, if you don't, I will close the session.